possibly can, but there we go. We're jumping in straight into picks and bans, and Nymaera, I'm gonna let you take this one away because we've already seen the double AD carries in the bot side on the side of WE.
Okay, where are we going with this? So, SwordArt going to be on that Yuumi. He's been a big high-midding player, not always been picking up kind of like the more passive support in that Yuumi. I think actually AL have looked a little better when they've had the Zeri Yuumi, though. Allows Betty and SwordArt to be that late-game insurance. You got to get through this double AD carry lane first, though, from Hope and Lwandy, and they actually have been fairly solid from Team WE. They haven't necessarily been the I guess the clutch factor and the big playmakers for them. I think that's really been Shanks in that mid lane. But still, having this double AD carry in the bot side to pin down one of the late game insurances for anyone's legend, that's a good sign from WE.
Yeah, absolutely. And getting themselves into that situation, like you said, like, you know, Shanks able to kind of build himself up. I'm curious to see where these next few bans go. I love the Cassiopeia ban. Shanks has been one of the front runners, trailblazers, if you will, to kind of say, look, you want to try and pick the Ryze, you want to go for that, you know, nice, easy scaling with a front team fight. The Cassiopeia kind of ruins everything in that path. So really like to see AL really putting themselves forward and saying, look, we've done our homework. We know what we do and do not want to go against. With the Fiora and the Cassante here banned away, I feel like AL got to ban the Jax. Leaving that open just means that you can go for that blind as WE and be pretty happy.
Yeah, trying to think really what the priorities are here, right? Because you're leaving open normally double banning your top side for WE is like, oh, you know, maybe we want to pick a top laner on 4. But what I think they're doing is saying, we're banning away the blind picks that you can pick on 4-5. We're going to get the Ryze for free. They're going to get a counter pick, knowing that there are no real blind picks, which are really kind of safe here for ZDZ in the top side. As you said, the Cassiopeia ban from the side of AL already kind of signaled, oh, maybe we want to take the Ryze. WE take that away instead, and they say, okay, all right, what else have you got?
See what they do have. Of course, LeBlanc could be an option there. Haven't really been seeing much play of that. You kind of do need that wave clear and scaling that you do get with the control mages of the Ryze, and of course the Cassio, and maybe even the Syndra. So Camille locked and loaded here. They are going for ZDZ to have a little bit more priority in that top side if they can get it. But this is the big thing I think we could probably bring up for AL is that, I mean, ZDZ is getting a lot of these prio picks, but it's not really turning into anything. Of course, 0 and 7 looking to get themselves a first win before the halfway point, but they've gone
and
with
now
the
he
tried.
has 2 priority picks.
I was gonna say,
and the Galio. He has like a second champion, which he's piloting with his feet from the mid lane. Things he obviously came in as a roster swap for anyone's legend. It hasn't really led to the most success for anyone's legend, but with this kind of combo, you can see the set play. On paper, this is a combination for this team which should be pretty easy to play around. You have a Wukong, you have a Camille diving in and kind of locking down one of these double AD carries or this Ryze on the backline, and then you have Betty and SwordArt zipping around with the space bought from that combo. On the other side, I see a lot of ability to play through early skirmishes. Bot lane, double ADCs, going to have that lane on lock. You have very aggressive options from the Vi into pretty much every lane across the board as well, so Heng can really have a good swing all lanes on this map right now. In games like this, have to see, of course, how quickly they can get that combo running off the ground. I'm expecting these lanes to give them some troubles before they hit that level 6 mark.
Well, we'll see what they can do. Of course, AL still desperately looking for a win. 0 and 7. Remember, you only play 16 best of 3s, so if you start 0 and 8, you're already looking at a flat win rate across the board. But WE making their intentions known and saying, look, we've got a pretty strong level 1, so we're happy to move in here. Old school invade, none of this bot lane shenanigans. They're going straight through that ramp around the Dragon Pit.
The game starts from level 1. WE, of course, they were the winless team of 2022 summer. Now they stare across the rift at the other team, which is kind of matching their results from that last split. Except now in 2023. And but yeah, I mean, the tables turn. The tables have very much turned. They really would not want to be the first roadblock, or first stumbling block found
Biubiu
in this kind of series. Just wondering what was going to happen to that top side. It looks like Biubiu going to have a safe passage towards this top side.
They do not pull the trigger just yet. They are checking to make sure that the red buff wasn't taken. But Xiaohao does mean that he knows there's no vision on him, so he's very comfortable just taking away this side. So we're going to have a little bit of horizontal jungling as we come into this one here. Vi going to be priority on the bot side with AL and Xiaohao having priority on the top. But that's honestly how these teams wanted to play. You can see already using that Caitlyn Varus combination, just the extra range. Betty already taken so low. And you can see as well, WE, they don't care about the minions. They don't care about last hitting right now because they're just saying,
you're
cool.
denying XP.
Yeah, you're just denying XP.
Yeah, you deny that XP, you realize that you're both going to lose the CS, but if you have the level 2 first, there is no way that Betty and SwordArt can play around that under turret, really. Going to keep getting pushed out. As you said, junglers kind of taking each other's enemy jungle, but this leaves mid lane exposed.
Does a little bit, but the combination from Shanks had already come in, so though Xiaohao does get a pretty decent trade there onto the mid laner of WE. Not really going to lead into anything else. Has got the Conqueror, interesting enough to look at his keystone there, but no phase rush or sometimes see the unsealed spellbook. Not as common anymore, sadly.
Yeah. Well, that phase rush, not really useful when you're just running around a Hextech ultimatum. That's my takeaway from that one. But it does mean that against these melee diving champs on this top side, you have less ability to run away from gank situations like this.
Oh, the taunt's gonna land. He has flash, and he does flash away. He gets the Rune Prison underneath the turret. One more. Oh, that's gonna be enough. And that's a 1-for-1 trade. Good for the side of AL to be proactive. But again, you're losing your jungler on the map, and that's where Heng can try and maybe make something work here with Lwandy.
Yeah, and this is where this double AD carry lane gets very, very scary. If you don't have a jungler on call to stop them from pushing in your lane and bullying you out, you're going to be stuck under turret for stuff like this. How many summoners are going to get blown? How many lives are going to be lost?
They're looking for SwordArts first. They are going to get the flash away, but it's going to be a flash in there. The Galio has come to play. They need to get one more kill. Betty doing very well to keep himself up and alive. They get the trap down. You can see there, Pinzy. Ooh, the barrier goes up. Xiaohao was already on the rotation, and this has all gone wrong now for Team WE. Lwandy seeing if he can keep himself alive and well. You can see Xiaohao moving forward, brings down the staff, but might lose his own life in regards. That's another kill going over to Shanks. As this game, I didn't expect it to be this explosive.
Yeah, no, we had a quick draft. Gonna have ourselves a quick look at how this early game is going to go as well. This is all a product of these junglers starting on very kind of different jungle paths from this regular kind of jungling all your own camp style of play. You left an isolated bot lane. Wukong had died earlier in the mid lane, so he's not here to immediately respond. You have a second jungler though. He's in the mid lane, comes down from there, and the Galio turns up to play. I think WE in the course of this just kind of lose track of resets. They lose track of where these Anyone's Legend members can be on the map after dying, after kind of getting a wave push in. They get punished despite having this pressure in this bot lane 2v2. They don't use it to the best of its ability.
I think that, I love how you brought that up as well, like kind of missing or losing track of where everyone else, because let's be real, if Xiaohao doesn't die in the mid lane after going for that dive, he probably goes up towards his top camps. He probably is completely other side of the map, so he's able to kind of go for it. Of course, that reset sets up the side of AL to say, look, we can respond to this in bot lane, we can get ourselves into a much better position, but great little moves here coming out here, and already 4-3 in kills. We have more kills than minutes in the game right now, Nymaera.
That is exactly how I like it.
I was going to say, I said this about a week ago or so, but I was like, it feels like the LPL is healing. It feels like we're getting back to the madness that is this league, and I am so here and so ready for it.
Nature is healing. We've got ourselves some nature cameras in the jungle as well. Anyone's Legend, they have some wards in the enemy jungle. So, looking at the next couple of minutes, you'd normally expect the Vi to be the jungler aggressing right now with the lanes that they have to play through with this double AD carry, but they're getting spotted like this. Heng is not going to have like free passage into any lane. Xiaohao ready to respond. That is a very important step for Anyone's Legend to kind of capitalize on the wins that they've already had in this early game. They should be further behind than they currently are. They're currently up in kills, they're even enough in gold. When you're playing against this double AD carry, that's actually a pretty good benchmark to meet.
Absolutely. I think, you know, coming in against the priority laning phase of WE, like you look at even topside as well, that is definitely a winnable situation. ZDZ did TP back in. Biubiu kept his available to him, but with Xiaohao and Pinzy coming in now, that's where this is going to be a bit of a dive. Yeah, it's a big wave crash.
That's a lot of farm to lose.
It's a lot of farm to lose. He hasn't hit level 6 just yet either, so he's going to look for it at the moment. They're going to immediately jump in, see if they can get on top of him, and they will be able to do it. That is the Venn diagram of death that is able to come out from AL's composition. However, I will say you are leaving Shanks a little bit on his own now to push this in, and Dragon will be going over to WE.
Yeah, but just compare the two dives which we've seen now. Failed dive, all things said and done, from WE towards that bot turret. awesome and a very important dive towards the top side against Biubiu on the Jax. He's going to be able to teleport in and secure some of that farm. But if you're getting this top side ahead with suddenly this Galio, crazy amount of gold to kind of bring to their own part of that burst combo as well, especially when you're going Rod of Ages, you actually do bring more damage than potentially other Galios have done in previous metas with different itemization. Anyone's Legend, again, finding themselves in a much better position in this early game than they really have any right to from this draft, and that should scare WE. They need to find a way to, again, control Xiaohao, control Pingzi, because they're getting out of control and getting across the map.
Well, for the moment, AL happy enough with the kill lead. Losing a dragon this early is not going to be a big deal, you would imagine. No Chem Soul either, so WE going to be happy with that little trade back as we kind of come back into live and wait to see what this could do. Because again, you look at where the gold is concentrated right now for the side of AL. It is on this Galio and Wukong. It is on the big engage tools that you have for yourself, you know, with the Grand or the Hero's Entrance and of course the Cyclones. So right now, I'm very much curious to see how far away are we from a first item completion here between the Wukong and of course the Galio to really hit home on that setup, really push yourself to say, look, yes, we know exactly where we are, we know exactly, you know, how strong we can be, and we're going to leverage that against you.
You know, it took me a long time to realize that you can actually have a cloned Cyclone from Wukong. You just press the W and you get the double of it. Anyway, it took me a long time to realize that. But hey, maybe see that in this one. As we see the Herald rotation from WE, important for them to kind of, again, if they're going to control parts of the map, stop anyone's Legends members from kind of turning up to plays, having a Herald can help. But they have left their AD carry alone under this turret. Hope, looking like he's left without a little bit of that. Has a flash, has a barrier. I'd imagine he's blowing both though.
Nah, I don't think he's going to blow any of them because I really... Oh, never mind. He uses the barrier. Definitely not going to lose the flash just yet. Xiaohao taking a lot of damage here. The Yuumi does not get the kill, but the Betty Zeri does. Now Xiaohao gets killed again. Shanks picks up one more. And now with the Caitlyn, you've got the fight coming off the back of it as well with the cease and desist. Shanks is picking up more and more kills. And look, I understand what AL are doing, but giving Ryze all this early priority, the CS lead, the kill lead, it is going to hurt you in the longer run of this game.
Yeah, I saw that Shanks was heading down on the map. I just thought that Hope would be dead by the time he turned up. That's not the case. Well played by Shanks for responding quickly, understanding that there was no fight around the Herald. He didn't need to be there. Now, of course, Heng has that Herald to drop in one of these lanes. And once again, in one of these series, it is Shanks who is being the clutch player, the difference maker for his team. Shanks really turning up big again.
And you highlighted it in draft as quick as it was for us that Shanks has been the big playmaker for the side of WE, has been the reliable carry, if you will, for WE so far this split, and to relative success, 3 and 4 right now. This is the halfway mark for a lot of teams as they hit the 8 series played, and now Heng with Hope and Lwandy looking to try and make themselves a bit of a nuisance, but I love that Xiaohao recognizes I have zero control over my own jungle, and I know they were just here, so no real reason to walk up on forward on that as we do go back towards that mid lane, and we can see Shanks just trying to move in. And interesting enough as well, we're seeing the mobility of these two champions, the Galio and Ryze, the old school head-to-head matchup between these two particular champions because of their ultimates, because of how easy it is for you to be able to affect those side lanes. And we'd see it in full effect from both sides today.
And that is why it is so important to have control over one of these mid lane matchups, over the vision control around mid. And you can see that WE, they have got their kind of due diligence now to try and control Pingzi, who had the first kind of impact in this game, kind of heading towards that bot lane as kind of Shanks headed down at various other timings. But now we finally have this bot lane turret opened up. This is going to be a very important phase of the game now, where you're expecting the Caitlyn and the Varus to head into another one of these lanes. I wonder if you probably put them in towards this mid lane now, and you have Shanks, who is very strong in this Ryze, become the side lane Ryze, which we know that can be a very strong play pattern for this champion. And maybe that does give W a little bit of an easier time trying to control the map as we've kind of requested of them. Only problem with that is that if you start to put this Caitlyn and this Varus into this mid lane, you're opening up side lane dive opportunities from the next big ultimates, from the Camille, from the Galio and the Wukong coming through.
Well, Biubiu got the reset there before ZDZ. ZDZ should have his teleport off cooldown, so he should be back in this lane in no time at all. No Divine Sunder at the moment for the Jax, so still waiting on the completion of that, whereas ZDZ has completed that item in full. 20 seconds till the next dragon spawns. WWE stacked the first one, so they'll be looking to stack the next. You can see CDZ saying, I have got a little bit more to work with here than you do, despite us having the same build path. Returl gets dropped down into this mid lane. You can imagine they're trying to funnel that gold onto Hope, but might just be for pressure as well. They know that they can go for a little bit of a move onto this dragon before the side of AL can respond, and WE should be able to pick this one up, no questions asked, no issues.
Biubiu heading down towards the play. Didn't have a teleport, of course, as easy, just teleports towards that top side. Something that you mentioned earlier was okay. Chemtech Dragon's already taken, so there's no Chem Soul for WE. Oh, bit of a break in vision.
Oh, the ace in the hole is literally just that sniper Lwandy from the backside. It took a couple of summoners, it took a couple of ultimates, but they get their man regardless. And not only that, they get the cleanse out of Betty. So right now, it looks like SwordArt not really inclined. Honestly, I would have expected to see a summoner heal there. Might not have been enough, might have been. It's hard to know in those situations. But big pick off there for WE. And this is where AL have, honestly, all season been struggling, is those mid-game slip-ups where they seem to have a good early game and then they just let it go for some reason.
It's just that impreciseness. And this is just a lapse in vision. This is kind of the payoff for Biubiu making his way down to the player, understanding that the wave in top side is already heading towards him. He doesn't need to be there to collect that wave immediately. And top lane comes up trumps in this one, goes down towards that mid lane. The Jax gets himself on the board with the assist.
That's all you want, really, as a Jax right now. You're not really in a position to contest the ZDZ Camille as much as you'd probably like to, so just keeping yourself scaling, getting yourself towards that kind of side lane, and that's exactly how he wants to play these fights as well. If he's able to jump on top of Betty, get that counter-strike off, and without a cleanse, it is going to be a struggle bus for time for Betty as he tries to get some plates now in this mid lane. I will say, with Xiaohao and PinZ just kind of sitting here, TP coming out, that's going to be there to defend top side, as you've already still got a Caitlyn and a Varus pushing in towards that top lane. Sorry, Caitlyn and a Ryze. So yeah, good call here from AL to make sure they don't lose too much.
I'm a little bit perplexed by how AL are kind of approaching this mid game. Again, because it feels like their combination should be, okay, we can punish someone on the side lane. They do get a plate or two in this mid lane, but I just feel like they've got a point of power right now where they need to be getting ahead in certain areas of the map, but they're not really matching that right now. Looking now towards this mid-river, but every time you're going forward like this, particularly because the Varus is already there, you're not even taking massive numbers disadvantages, and as you're sitting here not being proactive, you're being passive, you're losing towers, you're falling behind the state of the game. This should be really where you're starting to find your own advantages.
And that's the thing as well. It's, again, you know, you said, you know, you're perplexed by this mid game. This has been the mid game of every AL game.
I am perplexed by anyone's Legends mid game. Don't need to put a label on the series.
But again, it's kind of just to give the audience a kind of more of an
there they go.
Here. Cyclone coming in. They are going to use the chain of corruption, but it's only going to land on the decoy. There's going to be Heng falling down in the start of this fight with the Hextech ultimatum catching out Biubiu, and there's the proactivity you wanted to see. He's trying to use the chain lightning, but Lwandy gets himself away. Not quite able to be hit by the zap there either, as Betty almost picks up another one there, but good proactivity means 2 free kills going over to the side of AL. They should be able to pick up this mid tower as well.
Okay, there we go. Proactive play, using your ultimates to try and get a numbers disadvantage somewhere. They do manage to find the jungler, they do manage to find Jax as well, so Heng and Biubiu going to hit the ground. That is a very needed play. Let's just preface it like this. This is kind of bare minimum. You get yourself an objective. You get yourself a little bit of space on the map, but Xiaohao, we're going to get teleported back out onto. I don't think this is going to lead to much, especially with the clone still up, but yeah, he's going to be out safe. But still, again, anyone's Legend, again, this is bare minimum. This should have happened earlier. At least it's happened now. But you can see what this composition is capable of doing. When they find a gap here and you manage to close the distance with someone like this Caitlyn, very luckily for W, I guess it's not the Varus. Could have actually gone even worse for them somehow. And the big thing about this is, of course, the member who is not involved in this play is that Ryze. If Ryze is there with all the gold that they have, Shanks being kind of, as we've said before, kind of the difference maker, the beneficiary of all these plays early on, maybe that play looks differently.
It's a full
now, as we say that, Shanks finding his way on them. Yeah, he's got his 2 items, and now Shanks is back out on the map.
Yeah, I mean, 30 CS up, 3 kills to the good. This guy is monstrously big. You can see, though, you have the Galio, though, so having that extra little bit of a magic damage shields. They're now going to fully commit here on top of Xiaohao, and Heng didn't really have his team there to support him, so just used his ultimate and backs himself away. With a Yuumi on his back, I don't think Xiaohao was really in any danger.
Yeah, and now that is cease and desist not available for the Dragon Spawn, which would be Soul Point for WE, which would be a very important thing for them. As soon as you have Soul Point, AL can't really go towards 1-3-1 anymore as easily, because every time the Dragon Spawn is up, you don't really have a choice but to fight, because you can't give away something like a Mountain Soul. That would be dangerous. That would be disastrous in many ways when you've got a lot of HP builders on the top side of the map with that extra shield and resist on the top of them. 10 seconds until that does spawn. Shanks pushing out this bot wave is actually going to be at this play this time, so watch out for that Ryze damage. The Conqueror, as he said, as that rune gives you a bit more ability to really stand and fight as opposed to run off with that phase rush. WE, how are you approaching this?
Well, they're going to go and see if Lwandy will survive this. I don't think he will. There's the final chapter to stop the cavalry from coming in. Biubiu left in no man's land. WE fumbling the ball on these execution. AL rightfully so, punishing them and just saying, cool, we can hard engage on one person who's isolated.
But why the heck is Lwandy just completely separated from the rest of his team? Absolutely no ability to hide behind someone else, and for the second time in the last few minutes, this Caitlyn caught out at really awkward timings for WE. AL pulling the trigger, ZDZ on the Camille, using that extended engage range to great effect for his team, and now suddenly you don't have that Soul Point being held over their heads by WE, and this is such a greedy path toward this dragon from Lwandy, rightfully punished.
Yeah, it just feels like Lwandy's just not quite used to the Caitlyn, I think is a good way to put the positioning on it and how, you know, squishy you really are. But I will say as well, Biubiu has had a very poor showing so far in this game. 0-3 on the Jax has been caught out multiple times. They've just alled in on him. And then, as you say, like similar to Lwandy, he's just been in the wrong place at the wrong time. It's really been hindering the side of WE to try and kind of bring themselves forward. They still, despite everything, have themselves a gold lead, but that could potentially be a Mountain Soul. And you think about, you know, a lethality Varus, effectively, actually not even effectively, it is a lethality Caitlyn. This Mountain Soul is, you know, it's just so valuable for the side of AL, especially when you look at the team that they have. It's going to be so difficult to burn them down.
Just having the base dragons, very nasty. Because when you're looking at flat resist, Biubiu's got out again. Talk about him having a difficult game.
He should be fine, though.
Yeah, not going to die this time at least.
No, bare minimum. Didn't die at least. But WE now trying to see if they could maybe use that leverage now with Betty and SwordArt, who fully committed there into the top side of the jungle. Rift Herald does get dropped into mid lane, and now Xiaohao with the cat on his back. Realm Warp going to be used there, and they're jumping on top of the decoy, putting him on some hurt and saying, look, that could have been you. It's a warning for you and your rest of your friends. Biubiu now going up towards this top lane, but should not be able to really defend this turret against Shelly and her favorite thing in the world. I say that, though, but no one's actually escorting this, and now Shelly is going to get her head. Yeah, she might actually be not used.
Team? Yeah, Shelly doing her best. This is setting up for a play in the mid lane, though.
It is definitely setting up for a play in the mid lane. And Xiaohao does not get hit by the ace in the hole. TP comes in from Ping Z. And again, more and more little things going in favor of WE. Now Biubiu gets caught out in the top side. The Venn diagram of death comes in as Biubiu trying to see if he can survive. He is fairly tanky as a 3v1, but not tanky enough because it's still a 3v1. So again, 0-4. Biubiu is just not respecting this old school combination of Camille Galio. We've seen it so many times now where they just jump on him and kill him.
Yeah, and WE seems so discoordinated, disconnected. This Ryze is plays. Ryze is where your damage is right now. Ryze is where your everything is right now if you're Team WE. AL, credit to them for finding the plays where Shanks is not at them. But W are also playing a hand in this too. They committed to that mid lane play, which didn't really see anything. They couldn't get a clean engage off. And it just feels like, again, WE not paying respect to this combo, which AL struggled to get off the ground early, but they're finding great use out of now.
Yeah, again, I like the words you use there, respect. They're not really anticipating what's coming in. They're just wandering in nonchalantly. It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're, you know, this, we're that. It's fine. But now you look at the top side. That's the Ravenous Hydra. You are a Ravenous Hydra down now as Biubiu into ZDZ. And Shanks is doing very well. 3-1-0. Has himself plenty of gold, but really not what you want to be seeing here at the moment here for the side of WE. Very much not the
big play coming in bot side.
result.
See, Pingsley just trying to bring this lane.
They're going to try and go for him, but you can see Shanks putting out some decent work of his own. TP going to be coming in.
Great
Stopwatch used there as well. Shanks looking to try and make this one a little bit more painful for ZDZ, and he will shut down as he flashes forward. The HC hole was good. Biubiu by himself. Just, you're playing weak side. You know your team's not working towards you. Just back away, bro.
But AL, the one person you've tried not to fight is the person they go onto in a side lane. You see how close it gets on the other side as AL make a bit of a bizarre choice to play on both sides of the map. Typically, you're looking at only playing on one side as one of like the fundamentals of League of Legends, but they lose one in that attempt. They're going to lose a mid lane tower and everything that they've been working up to. Again, it's quite fragile. As soon as the Ryze gets into the play and starts doing damage, things get really dangerous for them.
We'll say, though, Shanks did have to use his stopwatch in that last endeavor. So now Heng, Ping Z, maybe might be caught out here. They don't really have great vision on the side of AL in their own jungle, and you can see they're looking to try and catch somebody out. ZDZ probably not the best person to be jumping on top of him, I'm being totally honest, and I believe WE agree as they back themselves away using all of the fruits of nature to try and keep their vision and, of course, their avenues in. Good trap line being built up here by Lwandy as he tries to just stop any and all engagements. AL going to take the long way around and bring themselves around that mid lane. Dragon has been started, but I don't know if you want to take this fight just yet. There is no real vision right now as Xiaohao moves forward.
Look at the ultimate cooldowns. Big combos available. See if anyone can start splitting this fight. Xiaohao's looking.
They're going to go for it a little bit. It's going to be Biubiu cut off on the top side of this fight. Chain of Corruption misses completely. Hextech Ultimatum comes down, and Shanks doing a lot of damage, but Shanks has been found and taken out. Betty picks up that particular kill. Heng picks up CDZ on the backside of this play, but now he's isolated away from everybody else. Good flash there from Betty to make sure the Vi could not get over the wall. There is going to be absolutely no way they're going to be able to try and get him. He's going to survive. He's just going to take a little bit more extra time before he does eventually fall. And AL kind of just throwing WE around the place right now in these team fights. Not what I expected to see considering the start of this game.
Well, there was no stopwatch. You called it out earlier. Shanks couldn't disengage from that play. Gets engaged onto by that Camille. Gets the Galio ult top and was like, okay, all right, you're in the bounce house now. You're not going to be able to survive. Hope around the corner. Biubiu back as well, but I don't think there's much to be gained. And WE, from what seemed like a real chokehold on this game, looking at that soul point, have fumbled 2 Dragon setups back to back. They had the trap lines, but again, just watch how little Shanks gets to do, or at least the amount of time he has to do things in. Biubiu, yeah, we know he's having a difficult game. He doesn't have the stats to really play around, but Shanks, he gets like this amount of time to do damage, and that's it. After that point, no ability to turn things around, and you can see how close he gets to a load of these kills, but it's not nearly enough. If you have a stopwatch in that point, things get very, very different. And at WE, desperate looking at Baron.
They're looking at the Baron flip right now. The final chapter comes out as Xiaohao does pick up a kill onto Shanks. That's your damage. Biubiu trying to jump onto Betty, but you just said it. You don't have the damage. You don't have the stats right now. With DDZ jumping all the way into the backside there. 3 kills go over to AL. WE have lost complete control of this game. AL should be coming out with a W.
And that is much, much needed for this squad. Winless so far in series. It's not done yet. It's not put to bed. Trying over the wall, maybe looking for a steal, but Kingsley looking to play blocker.
Yeah, he's going to do it as well. Betty jumps in over the top as well to kind of say, hey, look, we got ourselves a couple more kills. The Baron, and this game is all but done. Nymaera, Baron secured. They're going to be able to get those lanes pushed out. Plenty of standing gold available to them. And WE, honestly, WE looks so out of sorts right now, so disconnected with this composition that it's just desperation, as you mentioned, for this Baron to try and make something happen.
Yeah, the objective setups just haven't been it from Team WE. Anyone's Legend, they picked a very easy combo to play around. They have now, at this point, a big lead to not even have to rely on it. They've done their hard work. This is now kind of the victory lap where they are kind of allowing themselves to just take the easy victories when WE don't have the ultimates, they don't have that summoners. And WE, if they're going to come out from if they're going to have a comeback in this game, it has to be done fairly precisely at this point. You need to find a way somehow to find this Ryze in a pocket where he can do some damage, but he doesn't, again, have something like a Zhonya's. He's building towards it right now, it looks like, with the Fiendish Codex in inventory, but it can't come soon enough. WE, it is all on Shanks yet again.
Shanks got to find something, but Shanks needs his Zhonya's, I feel, to really be relevant in the next few fights. But with all this power that you gain with the Baron, all this pushing ability, having ZDZ with Eddie on the backside, just saying, look, we can do this 3, honestly 2-2 and 1 in the middle, kind of say, look, we can go for this. Shanks isn't even with his team right now, level 16, but I feel like this is the correct call because you're not really going to be able to take a fight 5v5, but you got to do something else because I feel like right now you're just losing the rest of your base. You maybe get an inhibitor here, but it could be an equal trade. It's not done just yet here for Shanks as he does not pick up the tower just yet. Should be able to finish it off there, so nicely done by him, but again, you're losing so much else, and you got to remember as well, that's a Galio with TP and his ultimate, so he should be able to join the rest of his team, no problem whatsoever.
Well, can he? Shanks has flash. So basically, what WE have said is that we have our mid laners are off just somewhere else, and both of them can cancel each other if they look to go towards the big 4v4. W likes that trade right now. At least Shanks could do damage in that situation, and the combo isn't complete. But are you just going to get punished for it?
I mean, you are going to try. We're going to see now Heng goes golden to try and keep himself alive. He flashes, but he is dead. Anyway, the inhibitor has gone down, and in a 4v4, it is AL who are coming out on top. Now it's a 4v3 as Lwandy tries his very best to keep himself alive. Has to flash away. ZDZ. Oh, never mind. I'm going to say Xiaohao taking a hell of a chunk of damage. Still, oh my God! Betty goes from an 80 carry into a burst mage. As we can see now, the recall coming in. The TP is going to be bought in here by AL. They want this first game victory, and can you blame them? They do not want to end their first half of the split with a 0-8 scoreline. It's only half the job, but they get themselves the game win. 1-0 in this series. AL just slapping WE around in these team fights.
Yeah, they picked themselves the intuitive combo. It is Camille, Galio, with a Yuumi on top of it as well. It cannot get more how it says it on the tin. They play out that combo. It takes them a little while to get it going, but on the other side, WE, they are going to have a very stern talking to by their coach in that break between games, because that was not it. That is the kind of game where it feels like it could have been in their hands. Shanks with a lot of gold, this Ryze being able to take over various parts of the map was misused, and those objective setups were absolutely not helping anything. So WE, they are seriously now, if they continue on this run of form, looking at giving Anyone's Legend their first win out of 8 series played.
That's the thing as well, is that you come into these kind of series and everyone's obviously writing off AL, saying, look, they're 0-7. And yes, they have had some glaring issues in the split so far, but the pressure then goes to the other team. You can't be the team that allows AL to take you down, because what does that say about you? But I am very much of the opinion that there are no easy matchups in the LPL, and I think we might be seeing a fortifying factor to that today if AL are able to take this victory.